Hey, y'all, it's Ron back at you again with another Photographers Roundtable live, except this time we're doing a pre recorded show. And I wanted to introduce you to a photographer that I've known about for a while. He's out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. His name is Dan Reynolds, and I have followed Dan on YouTube, his website, all the amazing images he has, and I really have always been interested in hearing about his photographic journey. And he's going to join us today, and he's going to let us know all about that. So, without further ado, let me bring Dan into the show with us. And hey, Dan, how you doing? Good to meet you.
Hey, Ron.
First time I
Good.
we've talked a little bit, but I've never actually, put face to voice and sat down and had a talk with you.
Well, thanks to YouTube, I know what you look like.
Yeah, I'm pretty active on
Not the
YouTube.
first time I've seen you.
Yeah. I mean,
It's the first time I've talked to you.
I retired, a year and a half ago, so I got a lot of free time on my hands, so, YouTube has become, my second hobby to photography, so but Dan, we'll just start out by letting the viewers know a little bit about you. Why don't you tell us about your journey, and you can talk as long as you want and as much as you want. It's all yours right
Okay.
now. It's all yours.
Yeah, my story's pretty interesting. When I've been a photographer for 40 years, but when I started, I have a master's of hospital administration and a master's of business. And I went into hospital administration thinking I would like that. But after 3 or 4 years, I was living in Nashville and I was about 26. And I was not having fun at all in hospital administration, wearing a coat and tie, and my socks didn't match, and my top button wasn't buttoned. And but I took a photography class in Nashville because I someone had hand given me a Canon A1, and I thought, well, I'll take it. And then I took a class because I didn't know anybody, and so, but taking this class, this guy was a corporate photographer, and I thought it was kind of like this is like the mid 80s, and I was like, wow, that's unbelievable what he's doing. So I got the bug. Long story short, this company went under that I was working for, and after some jobs were very close, after 6 8 months, I called my parents and said, I think I want to come home and try this photography thing. So I moved back to Chattanooga, and I moved into their basement, and I had had one class, and I uh, I went for about 6 months, and I was about to quit. And I went and I thought I started looking up healthcare jobs, and I thought I'm going to go to my lab and pick up that roll of film I made. And I went to this lab in Chattanooga, and she said, "Dan, do you need a job?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And it was like February, and she said, "Well, we do the processing for the Southern Belle Riverboat in Chattanooga, and they need a photographer because they don't want to take the pictures themselves anymore." And she told me how it worked, and I said, "Well, these pictures are not very good. Can we go up on the price?" And she said, "Actually, we can." I said, "I can make that look better than what they're doing." So uh, we worked out a deal. We got a better price. I started shooting for the Southern Belle and made enough money to where I could start commuting down to Atlanta to the Southeastern Center for the Arts, and I took five uh, professional commercial photography classes. I took architectural, studio, fashion, and corporate, and maybe one other. And I would drive down there in the morning, and then I would go to my classes and come back and shoot for the riverboat. And so I started making it. And then another big breakthrough was uh, my architectural guy. He showed us a good formula on shooting a twilight shot. And so I went out on the bridge in Chattanooga and shot the brand new Tennessee aquarium that had just been built in 1989. And I sent out a direct mail piece of a nice twilight shot of the aquarium. And the Ruby Falls in Chattanooga called and said, "We want some of your postcards." And I said, "Well, I don't do postcards." And they said, "Well, you sent us a postcard." And I said, "Well, that's a marketing piece." And long story short, they said, "Come up here and make us cards. The Choo Choo needs cards." So I think with my business background is why I was able to survive and I started creating postcards for the tourist places. I had taken commercial classes, and that led also to a Chattanooga calendar in the year 2000, and I've done 26 Chattanooga calendars uh, of the city. So that's allowed me to have different product lines. So if the economy's slow, people still needed postcards, and if the economy's slow, they still need some prints at Christmas. And then if that's slow, assignment photography for corporations. So that's kind of how I built everything over all these years. And then it's been a hard way. I met my wife along the way, which helped a lot, and everything moved from film to digital, and that helped a lot because as a film photographer, which I'm sure you were, we had to buy film and we had to buy Polaroids before every shoot, and uh, and then we had to take our film to the lab, and now we owe the lab guy, and and then you take the film and give it to your client, and then with the invoice, and they say we'll pay you in a month. Well, a week later you get another shoot, and now you got to go find film and Polaroids, and all of a sudden you're owing the lab, and the it's just really hard financial. So I really fought the digital world, but actually once you get going in it, uh there's no cost when I have a shoot now. So uh, and then the YouTube started. We started streaming about 3 years ago, and I started switching into YouTube at night, and I really got inspired by the silent hiking guys. And my favorite guy is a guy named Harmon Hoke, Hoak, and I really noticed that he's the best photographer out of all of them. And I've gotten to know him. I'm on his Patreon page, and he's taught me a lot on. So I started buying video equipment. I've got the Lumix GH7, and it's been really hard to learn in Final Cut Pro and learn all this. The
Hmm.
learning curve is really tough compared
Hmm.
to still photography right now is very easy for me. Depends if you
I,
a video, and then making a video, and then of course filming yourself with 4 or 5 cameras, and then putting it on in Final Cut Pro, and making that merge together perfectly is really tough.
well,
But it's so much fun. It's
yeah,
addictive, and I'm having fun with it.
you do some really great uh, videos, and I really like the style. As you know, I don't know if you know this or not, but the majority of people nowadays are watching YouTube videos on a TV set. So that changes
Yeah,
the
that's
philo-
what that's how I create these for. But when I look on YouTube, and they kind of say that it's only 10 or 20%, but what I'm shooting really for, you wouldn't want to really watch one of my films on a phone, maybe an iPad,
it's getting
but the TV is the best.
it's getting more. The percentages are climbing. And what I was going to say is this: a lot of times we were taught, more or less, or led to believe that you should limit your video lengths to 9 to 12 minutes, somewhere in that range. That when you get into longer videos, it's harder to keep your audience captured.
Mhm.
Except
Mhm.
for this, now that people are watching on their TVs, and a lot of people have YouTube Premium where they're not getting shown ads at all, they're actually sitting in their easy chair in their living room watching these videos. So when you put out a 30 or 40-minute video, that's like a TV show. Okay. That's,
Yeah.
it's like a TV show. So I don't watch TV at my house. We disconnected the cable about 3 years, 4 years ago. I have a TV, but I don't turn it on. So I do
Well, the
know.
whole idea is the way I use it, which is about 10 o'clock. I'm tired, and I hit the recliner. I might have a drink, and I would watch these shows. And these guys are in the Alps, and they're in Europe, and they're up in the
Yeah,
mountains
yeah.
making these amazing photographs. And it's just really relaxing. And I just thought I've got to try that. I can't travel to Europe. I really can't travel too much around America, so it kind of limits me. I have to think up, projects, but it's really fun, and it works in with, I shoot for probably about 7 years ago. I started shooting for Getty Images, and that's kind of the backbone of these films, because I'm kind of showing people I'm going to go out and shoot some stock photography, and here's what I'm seeing. You can see what I see, and then these images I upload to Getty Images, and they'll accept about 95% of them, and then they'll sell them around the world. And every month I get a check, so it kind of works all together. I'm not monetized on YouTube yet, and but so I'm not making any money, but I am making money on the stock images. And also my last two calendars, every image out of those 12 images were made while I was shooting a film. So you could get my calendar and see a month, and then you can go watch the film of how I made that shot.
So Dan, what I'd like to do is take a look at some of your images, and I guess we're going to go over to the Getty Images. But before I go over there, I had a question about Getty Images. I had always assumed that. I mean, do you have to be juried to get on there?
Yeah, they sent me emails for a long time trying to get me to sign up, and in the past I had to you'd have to submit film. So, I would send a notebook full of film. You'd have to FedEx it to them, and they would find the ones they liked, and they'd scan a few of them. This was Super Stock I used that used me instead of Getty. But so my experience with stock was just, they can pick out 4 or 5 shots. But when it switched to digital and Getty was contacting me, they were like, you can upload digital. And I thought, oh, so I could get a high volume. So yeah, they contacted me, and I said, okay. And then it was just up to me to start submitting, and you upload your shots and you fill in the data with the description and keywords, and then they accept them or not. But they usually accept everything, because I know how to shoot it. You have to shoot it in generic, without any logos or corporate info. And so a lot of nature stuff, but a lot of construction stuff and a lot of assignments. I can also keep Getty in mind and shoot a lot while I'm shooting a industrial site. If they're general shots, then Getty will take them. And so I've got like 25,000 images with them over the last probably 9 years. And I get a check every month. And, you know, most of these might not sell, but when they sell all over the world. And it's kind of interesting. I'll get a sales report, and I can look it down the whole thing, and it'll show all these sales. And some of them are like NBC Nightly News or ESPN Sports. And I don't ever see the images, but it's it's another, like I was saying earlier on the product lines, it's another product line of how a photographer can survive.
So people, I'm looking here on the screen of this particular image, and it's got some pricing to the right hand side there, uh, over here on this side. So
Yeah.
people who want, like, let's say NBC wants to buy this image from you, or they want to license it. I guess is the better word, right?
Correct. Yeah, they
So
license the usage from Getty, and then I get 20% of that sale.
so if somebody paid $375 for a medium, you would get 20% of that. But do they get the use of that image forever to do whatever they
Well,
want
that's
with it?
that's part of how they negotiate with Getty. I'm out of it, and they're negotiating. Yeah, is it a one-time usage, or is it unlimited usage? Or yeah, they work that out with Getty. And then
Okay.
if they want my shot, then Getty makes the sale and sends me my portion of it. But the portions are going way down, because what I learned in grad school was supply times price times demand equals price. And the
Mhm.
supply has gone way up on stock images because of the digital world, and so therefore the price has gone down.
I see.
And but I still do it, and it's worth it, and it's fun, and it keeps me shooting. Because really, before Getty, I was kind of like, why should I go shoot this sunset? What am I going to do with it? It's just going to go in a file folder, and no one will ever see it. So this is once I started shooting for Getty, I mean, I'm trying to shoot everything. It's exciting, and I get to see my images being promoted around the world, and
So
immediately on the internet.
I'm scrolling through here. I guess these are your current images, and we're drilling down into history
Yeah,
here.
so those are the images from my latest film called Winter into Spring,
I
where
see that one.
I shot for about 5 months. I mean 5 weeks as the seasons were turning, and so I got some neat. This was really a nature. As nature was changing, I was trying to document it, and at the same time, I can put it all on Getty Images.
Mm-hmm. Is that
Now
Chattanooga?
that bridge is that is near Jasper, Tennessee, about 20 miles north of Chattanooga. So that's toward Huntsville from Chattanooga.
Gotcha.
That's an example where I was coming back from a funeral, and I had taken my drone with me just in case I saw something. And I saw this bridge and spent about 30 or 40 minutes pulling over and shooting it, and then I headed on my way.
That's the one that's right there at South Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's called the Rhine
Yeah,
Quest or something,
yeah. I've
but
looked
it's a
at that.
neat looking bridge.
I've looked at that bridge on Google Map before, and I think you can get down to river level on one side or the other of it to get a low
Yeah,
angle of it.
I did. I drove across that bridge, and that's the fun of photography, is exploring and trying to, there
Uh-huh.
you are, and it's like you're a hunter hunting a deer or something, which I'm not, but this is the way I hunt, and I'm on it, and I'm trying to figure out the best angle and the lighting and the lights changing, and what road can I take to get down this road and then send up my drone, and
Yeah.
so that'll be in a future film, and I'm also going to put that in my latest Chattanooga calendar. So yeah, as you're going down now, that's another film I haven't come out with yet, but I shot this last fall. That's Foster Falls. I was telling you
Yeah.
about at one point. I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah. That's a neat
so. Yeah,
waterfall.
I can put that in my Chattanooga calendar, and I can make a film about it. And I did film going down there, and then I can put it in a YouTube film and then put it on Getty.
What's the
So
story
this is
behind
like
this?
whenever I go to the beach, I take my stuff and I can write off my trip. And also I was making a video, which this one will come out like in June. This was down in Navarre Beach by Pensacola. And this
What's
guy was I found these guys that's like a engine, and they're parachuting at the beach and going up, and they
ah
turn that thing on, and it's like a lawnmower with a fan, and they turn around, and it just starts going up in the air. It's pretty neat. I've gotten to see a lot of interesting things over the last 40 years.
I bet. I bet. You were talking about the start, your film days. I probably started a lot earlier than you because I was stuck in a dark room uh, in high school. And it started in 11th grade and morphed into being on the yearbook staff on the 12th grade. But we were dropped into black and white photography. There was a class, an elective class, and we rolled our own film, with the dark bags
Yeah.
and everything. We developed our own our negatives. We printed the pictures and what have you. And the total cost. This was back in 1975. The total cost for that privilege was $5 a month.
Yeah.
And they bought all the chemicals. We had to buy our own paper, and I lived in Daytona Beach at the time, So I dealt with a place called Beach Photo. I think they're still in business, but it's really funny because I didn't have a camera when I enrolled in the photography class, but they had loaner
Yeah.
cameras, and I borrowed a loaner camera. And every time I borrow one of the loaner cameras, something stupid would happen to it. Like one of the cameras, the shutter would stick, and so half of my
Yeah.
image would be black, and half of it would be
Yeah.
exposed. I got tired of that, and I asked my dad if he would lend me the money to buy a camera, and he said no. He said I could earn it myself. Well, I got a paper route. Okay, I
There you
delivered
go.
100. I did 100 papers. I had 100 paper route. I did 100 papers before school, and 100 papers after school, and I saved my money. And within about 7 or 8 months, I had about $350 saved up, and we didn't make
Well,
a lot being
there's an old saying, it's the 80-20 rule, and
a
20% of the time we get to have fun making photos, but the other 80% is the business world and
yeah,
how are you going to survive and
yeah.
how, the hard, the survival part of it. So
What kind
yeah,
of dra
I'm going back down there in about 2 weeks and I'm going to shoot some more and then I'll have a video on, Navarre.
So
Uh,
are you making these trips? I know you're doing
No, now
photography, but
these are I go down there to see some friends every year, my
okay,
college guys, and then I'll stay another day or two and and shoot for myself. And then I can write all that off because I make 10% of my income from stock photography, so I can write that off.
right. What kind of drone do you have?
Mavic 3 Pro,
You got a good one.
and I just got a Pocket 3 DJI, a small little gimbal that I'm looking forward to taking down there and going out on that big pier
Did you
and
buy a
walking
micro?
out there.
Did you buy a microphone for it?
Yeah, I got the one I got is a combo, so it has it. But of course,
Okay.
the Pocket 4 just came out a week later.
Oh, that's
But you
okay.
can't get the Pocket, you can't get the
I'm
Pocket 4 in America though.
I actually use the Pocket 3 on the majority of my walking around videos, and currently I'm using the Pocket 3 as a webcam, which it can do. And
Uh,
this is probably the
yeah,
microphone. This is probably the microphone you got.
yeah, I'm looking at it. I just haven't tried it yet. I haven't.
Okay.
I've got
So
to get in there and start working with them in the next 2 weeks before I go on this trip.
well, it's a lot of fun. They're great cameras. They're a little bit on the fragile side. You got to be careful because the gimbal. But
Well, I'll tell you
just
what, there was a camera repair place here in Chattanooga, and 20 years ago, I'd walk in there, and they'd say, "Here comes mayhem," and I'd come walking in there, and they say, "What'd you do this time?" And my camera would be torn up. So that shows you how far back mayhem goes. Those commercials.
yeah.
Because so
Uh,
yeah, I'm pretty tough on my equipment.
yeah. I'm going to go back to your website real quick right here. I really love your architectural photographs. And now you told me that you took classes on architectural photography. That kind of tells you have the knowledge to make this happen. So take this image here, for example. I don't know if you remember or not, but was you using Nikon gear?
Um, no, that's digital, and I do use Nikon, but the key to all that is a big wide angle lens,
Right.
and I think it's a 10 to 24 maybe.
Okay.
Um, but the real key is the lighting, and
Hmm.
if somebody gives me an assignment, and that this was in Cleveland, Tennessee, 45 minutes away,
Hmm.
I got to take what the light is giving me, and so the light is on that side of the building, and it's lighting it up. And so I can shoot that shot and, I'll usually take a ladder and maybe climb up 4 or 5 steps, and that'll really, change the composition a lot. And then, of course, the other half is you gotta go home and get on the computer and edit it to make it look good, but not, like, fakey,
Well,
you know?
one thing I like about this image, I'm just going to tell you what I like about it, is you do not see any shadow lines anywhere. Maybe a little bit where the fire hydrant is, but the way you and the power lines that are on the building right here, but on the ground, you don't the way you positioned yourself is unique. You don't see any of the shadow lines hardly at all on the ground.
Well, and I think it's kind of like about noon, so the sun is shooting straight down.
Right on.
If I was
Yeah.
out there at the end of the day, there would be shadows that I couldn't do anything about. But
Yeah.
you know, if you go to shoot a building and you're going to shoot interiors and exteriors, and you can't just go back and forth for 2 weeks, you know, you just have to kind of make it happen that day. And you
Mhm.
take, and that's, so there's an interior, and it doesn't matter what the weather is outside on something like this. Uh, so, but you have to time out your shoots so that you're going on sunny days so you can get the exterior the same time.
So you mentioned using a ladder, and I have
Just
thought
a
about that.
small, a 6 foot light aluminum ladder, maybe on those exterior shots. But now with the drone, also, you can lower the drone down pretty far.
Yeah.
But like this right here is a long twilight. You have to have a tripod on this one and no
Mhm.
ladder on that.
Yeah. I've when I've been shooting around Crossville here, because of the verticals, I have thought about taking a taller ladder than 6 foot. I thought about taking an 8 foot myself, uh, and shooting from the top of that. Now, when you do that, do you just put your camera up there, or
Oh,
and step?
I have to hand hold it at that point, but I have done twilights from the ladder, and I would get duct tape and wrap it around my tripod leg and hook it to the camera to the ladder so that I could have and I could do longer exposures up the ladder. But it really, you know, it makes a difference, but it's not a deal breaker if you don't have a ladder. You still can get good shots, and then with the drone, I get a lot of good exteriors that are a little higher than a ladder, you know, maybe 20 feet up, which really makes a big difference. The third baseball gallery is what my next film is going to be about. And so the, go to the one on the right there. It says, no, not opening night. Sorry. Yeah. To the left, that one right there. Okay. The bottom one, type in, yeah,
I
so
mean, out of
if
the
you
video.
click in the middle of that shot and go back to the smaller thumbnails, and then you can scroll down because there's about 100 shots. And my next film is going to have all these are all the stills that are going to go with the next film. And
I was
a lot of these will not be I won't be able to put up to Getty. I could put that on Getty though and just call it baseball, and they would run it,
see,
or Chattanooga.
I was down there. I want to say it was late last summer with the e-bike, and I put in down there at St. Elmo and rode into
Yeah.
downtown, right past all them,
Uh-huh.
put the drone up and did some drone flying and what have you. I did not even remember this baseball field going on over there when I passed by there.
Oh. Yeah, no,
'Cause
for the past year, they've been building it, and for the past since about, early March, I got the assignment to shoot it for some companies when it was completed, and then I said, "Well, hey, can I go in there and make a film about it and document it?" Because what they're doing is taking these old buildings that you see in the foreground, and they're modernizing them, and they're going to build all that out to retail stuff, and they're really old iconic buildings, so I wanted to document it while they're closing them down, you know. And so I went out there probably 15 different shoots and walked around and shot video of all the construction workers, the welders, and got like and I'm making a progress film called Baseball. And I love
Mhm.
baseball. Like I was out there the day they were putting in home plate. Um, this day right here, they had just put in the turf a week earlier, and that's the first time I saw the spigots running.
Huh.
And so I got to kind of follow it as they came along, and then I went out on opening night. Now this end is coming. It's going to take another year or so to build all that out. But this old warehouse factory,
What do they got? What are they
look at
going to
this.
do with that?
Well, they're going to turn them into restaurants and things. But if you
Oh,
hit
wow.
the thumb on that and scroll down some more, see, there's all kinds of graffiti, and it's kind of artistic all down through there. I go into that other building further down. See right in there to the right, that the old
Oops.
glass.
Yeah, I lost it there. Let me get back. Here it is.
Yeah, say like that. I went into these old areas where they're renovating all this, and so I'm documenting, kind of connecting the past and the future, and they're doing a good job of preserving all this. So, and that, like that right there can go on Getty Images. There's no logo. It's
Mm-hmm.
generic. Now that could not go on Getty Images because you've got a logo and you've got people. I would have to get model releases from them.
I
But
got you.
see, so this is a different kind of film that I made, just showing a lot of different stuff than a basic nature thing. This is more of a corporate photography construction film, but it's artistic. All this
So
stuff like this right here.
are you making images nowadays?
So
Are you?
I'm shooting the video, which I'm going to make a YouTube film out of, but I'm also shooting the stills at the same time that I'll show in the video.
So I guess the question I'm going to ask you is, when you go out, are you going out with the mindset that you're going to be making a video, or are you going out with the mindset you're going to be making photographs?
No, the video.
So
But
you have morphed. You have morphed more into
right.
video work than photography, and I get it. It's more fun.
Yeah, but I have to pick a subject to where I can shoot it
Mhm.
and get some good still shots.
Yeah.
So it's something that I probably wouldn't. I've always wanted to shoot that whole building, but I probably would not have shot as much as I did. But since I'm shooting a film, see, like all this, now graffiti, actually, strangely enough, on Getty Images, they won't take it because, ironically, the graffiti person has copyright, even though someone else owns that building. They own the graffiti person owns the copyright.
About
So
like me, about
if
like
if there's
music.
a if there's some graffiti on a bridge, then I can't Getty won't take that bridge. I take a lot of it out on Photoshop, but they won't take it because of a copyright violation. Hard to believe.
Now, I've watched you in some of your YouTube videos that you've done, and you actually move around pretty quick in the video. I mean, or is that just the way it's presented? It looks like, bam, you're here and then here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
are
some
they,
of it is the way it's presented because you can't let them fall asleep. But
what true?
I'm kind
Nice.
of, when if I go do a photo shoot of a building for 2 solid hours, I'm moving around shooting, you know. So I am never sitting down, and yeah, you're definitely moving. But so you can see I got some neat shots in this thing. That's the bucket truck that was putting up the big Erlanger Park sign.
You're documenting is what you're doing. You're documenting.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That would be different than this last video where I was shooting the winter turning to spring.
Yeah. We have.
But
I,
I'm kind of documenting that also.
yeah.
You're capturing moments in time.
That's what I've gotten into up here since I retired. I have 2 drones. I have the Mini 4 Pro, and I have an Air 3. Uh, and I use the Air 3 on bigger flights. I've got a bunch of waypoint missions programmed in. And what I like to do, this is a personal thing, I like to keep track of construction projects from start to finish. So I've got a
Yeah, I think I
guy.
saw one of yours. I saw one of yours online. I think maybe on Facebook.
Yeah, I've got a guy that I'm connected with the city of Crossville. So he kind of also too, you can get online and look at their planning board meetings, and they got PDF files and drawings and
Yeah.
all kinds of where they voted on things. So I kind of keep up with what's coming along. Like they're getting ready to build a new hotel not far from me, and it's a blank lot right now. So I've already done my mission and shot the lot blank. I'm just waiting for stuff to happen. And depending on how fast the construction project goes, I'll either visit it once a month or once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Depends on how fast they're moving.
So I
And
just started using the waypoints, and but what's interesting is on the video I started doing hyperlapse waypoint,
mm, yeah,
and
that's cool
so
too.
you without even doing the waypoint, you could just sit the drone over a construction project, and you could just actually just videotape it for 2 minutes, and then in Final Cut you just speed it up
Yeah.
20,000%, and it's a hyperlapse. Uh, but that's been pretty cool to do some hyperlapses of that stadium while they were working. I got some good stuff that'll be in the film. That's my 2026 calendar, and that'll be changing to 2027 in about 3 months. I'm
Yeah.
working on it right now. Now
Chat.
that cover shot is out of my film called Sequatchie Valley
Yeah, I
on
love that.
YouTube.
I love that one and the yard sale one. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
now I really like the yard sale. It's a
that
shame that it's over, and I can't do it again. I got to think of new ones. But
yeah, that was pretty cool. The yard sale one. I think it's on your
see, I think
channel here.
the baseball is going to kind of be like that, a little more like that.
All right, what I'm going to do now is show you Dan's YouTube channel, and he's got some really unique videos up there. And I've got a couple of favorites of mine. I'm sure he has his own favorites, but I'm going to show you two of them that kind of really resonated with me, and I really loved watching them. Of course, they're all good, but these are just favorites that I have. And let me go right here, and I'm going to play this. I think he can still think you can still talk on it, Dan. So
Okay.
this was, you can tell us about this project. I'll turn the volume down a little bit on the video. Tell us about this project a little bit.
Okay. So this is the yard sale that goes from Michigan down to Alabama for 10 days every summer, and it comes right over the mountain I live on. And these people come from all over, set up their, but there's a setup, there's a setup location called Picker Field on my mountain. And I went out there and checked it out. And then I saw all these characters, and I thought I can make a film and I can make a lot of portraits of some of these characters. And so I went out there about 10 days in a row as they were setting up, and the setup, and then the event occurs, and then they break it all back down. But it's a good country kind of feel.
Yeah, I just love it. And all your videos are like this. They're non-talking.
Correct. You're getting the most words out of me that'll ever be. But I hate that this is over and I can't go do it again, because that was
What
a
do you
lot of
mean?
fun.
What do you mean it's
Well,
over?
I mean, I can't go do a yard sale too because I've already done it.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
You know,
I got you.
that subject is I did it and it's over, and I got to find another subject
Yeah.
because I can't go redo the same thing. But it was
So did
really
you?
fun talking to all those vendors and going out there, and I went out there like 10 days in a row because they move in there and they camp there, and they all know each other, and you ask them how business is going, and it was neat. And they started getting to where they knew me, and I could walk up and make photos of them, like really good headshot, fine art headshots. That was a neat part of it.
Yeah. This other,
But if you notice, all through the yard sale, I'm showing a lot of tight headshots that are, kind of fine art of these characters, that just represent uh, common America that
I
I'm
mean,
in also.
do you actually walk up to somebody like that and talk to them first?
Yeah, I do. Lots of yeah. I'm not
What's
gonna just
what's your
you know,
spiel?
you just have to come up and I kind of wave and go, hey, I'm making some photos. And okay, if I make some shots of you, and I've got it. If they say no, then it's how much am I going to keep trying, or
Yeah,
I talk them into it. Yeah, you've got to have the art of a salesman. When you're out there doing something like that.
yeah,
And then lots of people shooting these country videos. Someone will pull over and say, hey, what are you doing? And you got to
mhm.
be ready to talk, and say, hey, I'm just making some shots and
I've been confronted a few times. In fact, I was confronted for the first time with my drone about a month ago, and he had no right. I mean, I wasn't even on his property or anywhere near him, but
yeah,
he
yeah.
seen me and he drove his truck up behind me, and I was actually from launching from another business, and he tried to intimidate me, saying he had my license plate on his dash cam and he's going to check with the FAA and blah blah this and blah blah that. I said, knock yourself out, bud."
Yeah, that's hard to deal with, and but
It
on the
is.
flip side, I had somebody when I was shooting in that valley on another video called Sequatchie Valley that I made, and this lady pulled up and said, is this you flying the drone that just flew over my house?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am. I'm a professional. I'm just making." And she said, "Well, if you want to come back in a week, they'll be cutting the hay, and
Wow.
I gave her my number, and actually, she set me up on 3 or 4, things where she gives me a heads up, and they're gonna be picking the corn. I did some on that in the film called Harvest, and I rode this combine with this guy, and it was I forget the word they used, but it was pulling all the corn and pulling and shucking it while it's driving along, and then it would pull up to an 18 wheeler and dump all the grain, corn into the truck. But I made friends with her, and she so it can go either way.
Yeah.
But
It's always good to
it's a
make
scary
friends.
thing though when someone's walking up to you and your drone is up in the air.
Well, here's how I handle that too, because I refuse to be distracted. Uh, and if somebody starts to talk to me while I'm flying, maybe they're curious, I'll just say, if you wait a moment, when I land, I will answer all your
Yeah.
questions. I said, but I have to concentrate on what I'm doing right now. And
Yeah,
they
I mean,
they'll wait.
that's part of being a photographer is like you
Mhm.
get yourself into some situations and you have to be, a smooth talker, but very nice. And you have to be ready to take your stuff and go and get out of there fast. If
Yeah.
somebody's getting mad, I'm out of there. I don't want the police coming or, I'm like, fine. And sometimes you might lose a good shot, but I get out of there
Yeah. Let me show this
because,
other video.
it's really scary letting that drone go up and just fly away.
Yeah, it is. This is the one you refer to as Sequatchie.
Yeah.
I mean, this just epitomizes East Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad this one's over too because I've done it. But I grew up. I mean, in my whole career, I would go down to Sequatchie Valley all the time and shoot. That's 20 minutes from my house. But now that I've done this film, I can't go do another one.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, the rodeo just quit out of there, and that was fun going down at night. And I'll leave for 2 or 3 hours and go out there in the country and shoot. And But, photographers have to keep reinventing themselves and thinking up new projects, and you gotta keep
Mhm.
moving. You can't sit on one concept and then that's all you do.
Yeah,
But
so
I
this
do
video
gravitate I gravitate to the countryside.
yeah, I know, I see the barn pictures, I'm into that too. This video is 38 minutes long, so this is one I was talking about would be great to sit down with a cup of coffee in front of your TV and just the ambient music and just watching the video. I need to get a new TV.
Yeah, you do.
I need to get a
'Cause it's,
4K. I think I'm going down there tomorrow and get one.
yeah, I think I fall asleep every night. in the recliner watching YouTube landscape videos.
How old are you, Dan?
65.
All right. You just get on
So
the big.
I got a good long ways to go.
Yep.
You know, there's no retiring in what we do,
No,
because
it's not.
it's not a job, and it's nothing about money, and I still do it every day. Just like the YouTube videos, there's no money there, but I'm still doing it just because it's so much. It's a calling versus just something, you know, that you have to do.
Yeah, let me show one more social media site you're on, your Facebook page that I found today, and let the user see that. And you can find Dan's Facebook page at facebook.com/Dan Reynolds Photography, no spaces. And that's how you get to that. And he got links to his website from here too, if you go to his Facebook page. I have, to mention that, I have myself become less and less active on Facebook and kind of give, I really love this image right here. I really, that's at the police department, is it?
Yeah, that's up
Or
in Sevierville. Somebody
Sevierville?
sent me up
Yeah.
there. They had just built that.
Yeah. I really love that
So
image. I
here's
like
a
how
good
you,
example. So on that one, when I finished that shoot, I was up there, you know, at the foot of the Smokies, and I stayed 2 extra days, and went up in the Smokies and shot for a couple days.
kill two birds
And
with one stone.
that's just the fun of what we do, you know.
Mhm.
And you have the freedom to do things like that. And then I can put those on Getty Images and make some money. You know, I have a reason to go up there and do it versus just to go shoot.
That's a cool image.
Yeah, that's Ruby Falls on Lookout Mountain.
So what kind of gear are you using now for photography?
Well, I've always had a Nikon D810 on the still images. I've always been a Nikon person, and then the Mavic 3 Pro. And then on the video, it's a Lumix GH7. And of course, I've got a Mac. I've got that's got the M3 chip. So that when I started doing this and my computer was really slowing down with all this video, luckily I had a good month and I was able to buy a new Mac
Yeah.
a couple years ago. You got to really have a fast computer. So I got a
Yeah.
state of the art Mac computer, and then I use uh, let me what else? GoPro. I use the GoPro a lot, and then now I've got this Pocket 3 I'm going to use. So some of
I
those
think
films I've got like four cameras going at once.
I think your Pocket 3 is going to replace your G87.
I hope not, because that is such cool film, and the quality is so good, and it's taken me so long to learn it. But we'll see. I wish, but you know, the Pocket 4 just came out, and we can't get that in America. And I
No,
just
you
bought the
can't.
Pocket 3, and I hate to buy a 3 when the 4 just came out.
I started with the 2. Well, I actually started with the action cameras, uh, the DJI Action 1, went to 3, 4, now I got 5. But the first pocket camera was the Pocket 2. It was very specific. The microphone for that only worked with the Pocket 2. It was not like universal. So when they came
Yeah.
out with the Pocket 3 combo with the Mic 2, which you could use on the action cameras too, you just got to pair it with it. I said, "Ah, that's what I need to do. I need to get rid of this Pocket 2 and buy a Pocket 3." And of course, the Pocket 3's, I think it's a little more fragile because the flip screen, you
Yeah.
know, I
Well,
had to
see,
send one.
I think the Pocket 4 has 2 lenses, and it has a really wide angle lens that
Yeah,
I would probably love. The other
yeah,
thing I used to use when I'm moving away from is the iPhone 14. And I use that a lot, but I'm backing out of that just more because of the quality. It's still got some problems versus a GH7, you
mhm,
know. So I'm trying to go hardcore with the best quality, and shooting vlog now. And this latest film, it looks to me the best as far as the quality of the photography seen on the TV, of the video footage. And shooting vlog it really looks good compared to my earlier films. This latest one is all in vlog, and I think it looks dramatically better. It's not as contrasty, and it's just smoother and looks a lot better, I think.
What are some others? Well, I was going to ask you a question. I noticed in some of your videos, there's a hint of maybe a cameraman. Do you have a cameraman that goes with you?
No, no,
I didn't know
no
if your
way.
wife. I didn't know if your wife went with you and
No,
did some videoing for you, or you get her
no,
involved
I'm
in
all
this.
solo. There might be one where I might have handed something to somebody and said, "Hold this," and I'm going to walk by, but it's always, I usually have two tripods. You don't see one of them, and I've got the other one. And
Yeah,
then, of course, the GoPro, I do a lot of time lapses with that, and then the drone. But no, definitely I'm by myself.
I was curious because I seen in this. I'm going to pull this one up. I said he looks like he's got him a camera person with him because the camera kind of moved. Okay, um, it
Yeah,
kind of
here and
moved,
there,
but
maybe I might hand it to somebody and say, "Hold this while I walk by." I'll be curious to see what you find, but
it might have been this one right here. This is the one titled Amelia.
yeah, at the beach.
Yeah. See if it comes up here. There you are with two tripods.
Yep, that's from the GoPro in the morning.
So you use the GoPro for time lapse.
Well, actually, uh, this isn't a time lapse, but it's just using the GoPro to shoot some video. I could just set it on the ground, tilt
Okay.
it up.
Great
Yeah, this
images.
one of my yeah, we go to Amelia Island every year, so I've got to shoot when we're there.
Is that the drone shooting a picture of you?
No, I put the GoPro on the railing of the porch, which is above the walkway, and I just
Yeah.
set it and ran downstairs and walked out. That's the GoPro down on the ground.
Huh.
Now that's on the tripod, GH7.
Is that the D810 you're using there?
No, no, oh yeah, that I'm carrying out there. It's awesome, and it's very old. It's probably about 8 years. I'm probably due to get the latest one,
Well, that's I
but
was going to mention. I was going to mention that in the you haven't took the mirrorless leap at all, have you?
well,
You've been.
the Lumix is.
No, I'm talking about for your
Well,
like
but I
Nikon
can
gear.
shoot stills with the Lumix GH7,
Hmm.
but they do not look as good as the
Oh no,
Nikon.
no.
But they look good, and so some of the sometimes I'll just snap a still shot while I'm doing a video, and then I can use that and upload it to Getty.
Mhm.
I mean, it's good enough, but it's not the quality of the big Nikon.
So if I'm sure you've thought of this, but if the D810 took a dump tomorrow, what would you do? What would you replace it with?
Well, I probably do the D850, and it might be taking that turn pretty soon because the bottom of it came off of a tripod, and it's a long story short, but I don't think they can fix it. So
Uh-huh.
I super glued it, the connection to the tripod, and it's working now. But that D810 is only worth about $300, and I can't believe it.
Yeah.
It cost me three thousand, and
Hmm.
so I got to get ready probably to upgrade. But I don't think I'm going to go higher up and get the Nikon that's the video camera, and I'm going to stick with straight hardcore good stills and use the G. I really like the Lumix, and I've learned how to use it, all their settings and their software. I've made it that far. I'm not in the mood to learn a whole nother camera.
Well, I've noticed, we've all noticed this trend to go backwards from mirrorless back to DSLRs. And I don't know if it's, YouTube hype or what it is, but the thought is real. When mirrorless came out, the promises that were made are not being kept. And the biggest promise that was made was lightweight or lighter. And that's not true, okay? When you put this new glass on there, the Z glass, and your camera weighs pretty much just like
Uh,
you got now, you know. So, you know,
well,
I
the GH7 is very light. I don't know. I really don't know the reason why mirrorless. I really haven't researched into all that. It's just it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is just the output of what it looks like. I don't care if there's a
Mhm.
shutter or not.
I mean,
You know.
the D850 is touted as the best DSLR Nikon ever made.
Yeah, so that would be probably just fine to move up to that level, then those file sizes are going to go from about 36 megapixels to I think 48 or 50, and then they're just going to take up more space.
Yeah, but they're they're
And with
they're
all this
just
video, the external drives are piling up. It's not fun keeping track of all that.
but the files out of the D850 are just sexy.
I bet they're good.
So let me show
But
you
really,
something.
I reached the point on the digital world where it looks great and I'm okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how the D850 would look better when I upload something to Getty than it does now, but I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
What is that? The D850?
Uh-huh.
Is
So
that a
to
used
take
one?
that's brand new.
That's pretty good price.
You need to take note of this website, Dan. If you've not dealt with them before, they're great. And I'm going to
That's
give you a hint.
interesting.
I'm going to give you a hint. No sales tax to the state of Tennessee.
Okay, yeah.
Free shipping. If you ordered it this morning, you would have it by tomorrow. That's how quick it
Where are
gets
they
here.
located? Are they in
Louisville,
Tennessee?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay. I
Now
might have heard of them.
you can't go to the
I,
store and do this because they got to charge you tax. But since they're shipping it into
yeah.
Tennessee, there's some kind of thing going on. But I order anything I can. That they don't have everything, but they deal with Nikon, Canon, Sony, and some
That's good
used
to
gear
know. I mean,
too.
I use BH Photo a lot and
Mm,
KEH out of Atlanta,
yeah,
used stuff,
but
and
for
maybe
a new
Adorama.
D850 until May 31st, it's $600 off everywhere. Not just here, but B&H has got it for $600 off too.
Maybe
Now,
Nikon's got a new camera coming out.
so let's look and see what a used. Let's see what a used one costs. I'm gonna go to MPB and look at their cost, and let's look up a Nikon D850.
Yeah, I don't have to have a brand new one.
Well,
I
hold
need
on
one that
now.
has a warranty though.
Well, here's one for. It's got 31,000 shutter clicks right here. It's excellent condition, they say, for $15.99. But $400 more, you can have brand new, all
Yeah,
yours.
I'd get brand new.
Yeah,
Because that's a
not.
lot of clicks actually. But actually, that camera my Nikon, I don't know how many thousands of clicks, but it never breaks. It only breaks the hardware if I drop it or
Hmm.
but nothing is ever broken as far as the internals of the camera.
Does your D810 have a flip down screen in the back?
No.
These do, and for landscape and down low work and up high work, that's a cool
Yeah.
feature. My
Yeah, see
see if I can.
that bottom connection is what's gone wrong on my D. It's stripped out. This
This oh
bottom
the
I, Yeah, that is stripped out, and you have to send it into the factory for them to change that out, and it would cost more than the camera's worth. It'd probably
Yeah.
cost $400 to fix that. So I'd be better off just buying a new 850
Hmm.
and start saving my money for that.
Well, yeah, surely you can just go and get it.
No, no, I can't.
Surely you can just go and get it.
No, we're on the road less traveled, and that's part of this road.
Uh,
It's
yeah, I get
it
you.
it you never which keeps us humble.
Yeah. I got a retirement channel too, but I actually live on my Social Security only. We have not touched our savings or our IRAs at all. My goal is to go as long as I can and not do that. And
Sure.
I worked a few years extra to facilitate that, um, to be able to do that, get a higher Social Security check. And
Hmm.
I'm not sorry I did. I retired at 67 in 2 months, and I'm not sorry I did it. But if I had to do it over again, I might have just went ahead and got out at 65.
Yeah, well,
Just
I did, and it's really good to have the Medicare.
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
Very
Anyways,
helpful.
we're getting to the end of the session here. Is there anything that you would like to add or talk about before we get off of here?
No, I just, this is interesting because I've met you through YouTube, and YouTube is
Hmm.
a cool thing, and it's just led to a lot of creativity and just keeping me busy, and it's just
Hmm.
fun. And call me up if you're coming through Chattanooga, and we'll meet for lunch and catch up. But I'll be watching your films and looking forward to
Yeah,
seeing what you come up with.
we're gonna end it right
No,
now, and
no, I'll look forward to getting to know you more and learning
yeah,
about your career, and it's good.
okay,
It's just fun to have another photographer to be able to shoot the
yeah,
breeze with.
yeah. Well, if I
There's
make my
not
way
many
down,
people that can discuss these subjects.
no, there's not. You got to have age. So, anyways, Dan, I really appreciate you giving me this interview and coming on with me, and we'll do it again sometime. Okay.
Okay, Ron, I appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you
Thanks.
later. Bye bye.
Okay.
So that was my interview with Dan Reynolds from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I thought it was a very interesting subject matter, and it's always good to meet other photographers from around the country. I'm going to put links in the description of this video to his social media pages, his Facebook, his YouTube channel, and his Getty Images, and his website. He's got 4 places he's at. I would encourage you, especially his website. I thought I really enjoyed a lot of those images that were on his website. So if you're interested in seeing some unique photography, and you heard him talk about his projects, his video projects, and get in there and check him out. And I think you'll enjoy what you're seeing. Anyways, until next time, we'll be back again next week on May the 27th. Will be our next show after this, and we'll have another photographer that we'll be talking to then. Until then, we'll talk to y'all later. We'll see you. Bye bye. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bells too. Thumbs up, would you please? We'll see you guys later.